Shoot, Ma'alat Arav. Just one more clarification on what we started to discuss in the previous halakha. Question that we asked in the previous halakha was the Jewish people when they went Mitzrayim, on the way out, it says that Borei Olam told Moshe Rabbeinu that you're going to borrow from the Egyptians some money on the way out. And we questioned, this was really not borrowing. They had no intention to pay it back. So it's either gezel or gereva da'at. So how were they able to do it? So in the previous dirash, we explained it either according to the Ibn Ezra that said that this was from a Kadosh Baruch Hu at Sivui, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu could tell anybody this belongs to you and this belongs to you, and you could take it. Nobody can question the word of God. We saw brought down from the Rashbam. The Rashbam said that really when it says b'sha'ala, it doesn't mean that it's to borrow. It's melashon matana she'al memeni v'etena guim nachalatecha. So therefore it was a matana gemura. It was not a borrowing. They took it as a complete gift. And we also saw, according to the opinion of the Malbim, that actually they were taking money in order to sell the Egyptians their homes. So therefore they were giving the Egyptians something in return. I just want to add to this a beautiful Orach Hayim HaKadosh, which is in Parashat Bo. In Parashat Bo it says, when they left, Mish'ar otam serurot v'simlotam al shechmam u'bnei Yisrael asu kedbar Moshe. Bnei Yisrael, they followed the word of Moshe. What do you mean they followed the word of Moshe? Vayish'alu miMitzrayim kele kesef u'kle zahav u'smalot. Moshe Rabbeinu told them on the way out, you have to take the money from the Egyptians. So the pasuk says, "Ubnei Yisrael asu kedvar Moshe," that Bnei Yisrael were obedient and they fulfilled Devar Moshe. So says Orach Hayim HaKadosh over here, Pirush lo lehana'at hamamon ela lemitzvat hanavi. First hadush he says is that they didn't take the money for the hana'ah of the money. They took the money only because the Navi told them to do it, which is L'Shem Shamayim. Ubnei Yisrael asu kedvar Moshe. They weren't drawn after the money of the Egyptians. On the contrary, they did it only because Moshe Rabbeinu told them. It's almost as if they had no pleasure in the money itself. The question on Orach Hayim HaKadosh is, what do you mean? How is it possible they have no pleasure in taking the money? So we once explained it based on a historical fact that the Jewish people who survived the Holocaust, World War II, so after the war, the Germans wanted to make reparations of war. They wanted to give compensation to all these Jews that went through hardships. And a lot of the Jews did not accept it. They said, we don't want to let the Germans feel as if this is a kapara, because they're going to give us a few discounts on Mercedes, and they're going to give us some products, and they're going to give us some tax breaks. And therefore, that justifies what they did to us. This is dirty money. We don't want anything from them. So the same thing with the Egyptians. The Egyptians tortured us for 210 years, or 86 years, avodat parich. And now to take their money, a lot of the Jews came along and said, we don't want their money. Lo medub shech v'lo me'oksech. Keep your money. We just want to get out of here. We don't want the Egyptians to say, we paid them on the way out. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Avraham Abinu, v'harechen yitzu b'rechush gadol. So Bnei Yisrael asu kedvar Moshe, lo lehana'at hamamon. They didn't do it because of hana'at hamamon. They didn't want the money of the Egyptians, dirty money. But they only did it because Moshe Rabbeinu told them, and therefore they fulfilled it as a chok. But the second answer of Orach Hayim HaKadosh says, Od yiratzeh, al pi ma she'era harambam, בפרק ט' מהלכות יסודי התורה, כי אם יבוא נביא ויאמר לישראל על פי השם לעבור על מצווה אחת, הוראת שעה, כאליהו בהר הכרמל וכדומה, שומעים לו חוץ מעבודה זרה. הרמב"ם writes that a Navi is able to suspend the law temporarily, and if a Navi suspends the law temporarily, you must listen to him. What's the classic example? Eliyahu Navi was on Har Carmel, and he told the people to build a Mizbeach and to bring a Korban on the Mizbeach, even though at that time you were not allowed to bring korbanot on a bama. It was forbidden. So how would they listen to him? Because the Navi has a right to suspend the law of the Torah as long as he's not telling them to worship Avodah Zarah. This is called Hora'at Sha'ah. Et la'asot la'Hashem eferu Toratecha. And not everybody has the license to do that. Obviously only a Navi. So therefore in Hara Carmel they not only were able to listen to Eliyahu, they had to listen to Eliyahu and Navi. Even though technically, if you do this without a Hora'ah and Navi, there will be Hayab Mitah. For bringing a Korban outside of the Mikdash. So says the Or HaMekadosh, same thing over here. Ubnei Yisrael asu kedban Moshe, vehu omro ubnei Yisrael asu, veletzad ki maaseh zehu maaseh belti hagun. What they were doing was something that was improper. Lignov da'at goy gam ligzol mamonam. To steal the intellect of a goy, to tell him you're going to borrow the money, and he thinks you're going to give it to him back. That's called gerevat da'at, and it's also called gezel. How could they make an avera like this? Moshe Rabbeinu was a Navi, and therefore the Navi is able to suspend the law. So according to Or HaMekadosh, that's what the pasuk is saying. Moshe. This was considered Hora'at Sha'ah. The Hora'at Sha'ah was to take it in this way. It's possible we can explain why. Why did they have to take the money this way? Why couldn't they take it in a heter way? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu punishes midah keneged midah. We just learned in the daf the other day that how did what's the reason why we eat maror, the hasa on Pesach? So the Gemara said that the Jewish people in Egypt have a similarity to the maror. The maror, it says it starts off soft and then it becomes hardened in the ground. So too, when the Jewish people were in Egypt, it started off beperach. It started off soft, but then from perach became parech. It became backbreaking labor. What does it mean? So that she explains in the beginning, Paro came along and said, no, I want you to work and we're going to pay you. For every brick that you produce, you get a dollar, let's say. They said, fantastic. So they produced 1,000 bricks. Paro came the next day, you get paid 1,000. And this is the way they did it for a while. Then after Paro comes along and says, now you make the same amount of bricks and you're not going to get paid. And all that was just in order to establish the capacity. He wanted to see how much they're capable of doing. So how do you test somebody's capability? You pay him. And then once you figure out what he's capable to do because he's getting paid, then you trick him and say, now you're not getting paid anymore. Now you have to make the 1,000 that you made yesterday. This time you're doing it for free. And therefore, who is the biggest gonev da'at? Paro. So therefore, since Paro committed that crime of genevat da'at when we came into Mitzrayim, so Borei Olam says, now you need a midah keneged midah. Then on the way out, let him feel what it means to have genevat da'at. Let him taste some of his own medicine. So therefore, on the way out, we told him, no, we only want to borrow. Oh, you only want to borrow? Okay, bechavod. Then we told Paro, see you later, we're not giving it to you back. So what do you mean? Now you know what it means, what you did to us. We do. So there was a hora'at sha'ah of an onesh of Paro, midah keneged midah. That's what the pasuk means over here. Bnei Yisrael asu kedbar Moshe, who was a verified Navi.